It's hard. We don't know what happened
There's
to
so many
Khamzat.
question marks. We don't know.
Khamzat just shoots from like 15 feet away and gets a hold of your
But
leg.
I look at the kind of pressure sometimes. People doesn't know how to handle it. It's hard to bet against focus Khamzat, healthy Khamzat. I think he can beat anyone on any given day. As talent, as technique, it's Khamzat. If we go to the third and fourth and fifth round, how this fight gonna go? I believe Khamzat can go there. Did to him what he did to Robert Whittaker. 100%, I believe.
From the UFC's $7.7 billion move to Paramount, which will end pay-per-view in 2026, to Alexander Volkanovski backing Dricus Du Plessis over Khamzat Chimaev, the fight world is packed with headlines. Paulo Costa is pushing for a rematch with Israel Adesanya. Charles Oliveira is calling out Dan Hooker. And Armen Petrosyan is accusing Ilia Topuria of avoiding him. Even John Jones has weighed in on UFC 319's biggest matchup. Paramount has secured a 7-year deal with TKO Group to become the exclusive home of UFC events starting in 2026, valued at $7.7 billion. The agreement will bring 13 numbered events and 30 fight nights each year to the Paramount Plus streaming platform, with some events also airing on CBS. The biggest change: no more pay-per-view fans will only need a Paramount Plus subscription to watch.
This morning, that beginning 2026, the UFC is taking its entire package, the whole thing, over to Paramount. Out of nowhere, here comes Paramount. And Paramount Plus, to be exact, and CBS as well. Yes, the Tiffany Network. No one saw this
White
coming.
has called it a huge move for the sport. This historic deal with Paramount and CBS is incredible for UFC fans and our athletes, he said. It places UFC among the biggest sports in the world. The exposure provided by Paramount and CBS under this new structure is a huge win for our athletes and for everyone who watches and loves
in the
this
United
sport.
States of America, starting in 2026, they have acquired the rights for $7.7 billion for 7 years. The best news for fans: the pay-per-view model is dead. All events are part of a regular subscription, including numbered shows. Are they saying now that like UFC 355, all of that will now be available with your standard Paramount subscription? Yes. So, wow.
Which is how WWE
Right now, UFC is partnered with ESPN, with fights airing on both ESPN's TV channels and ESPN since 2019. But that arrangement will officially end at the close of this year. The new deal represents a massive financial leap, with Paramount and TKO agreeing to an average annual payout of $1 billion, nearly double the $550 million ESPN reportedly pays each year. This extra investment highlights just how much value UFC has built in recent years. The market reacted quickly on Monday. After the news broke, TKO's shares jumped more than 7% in midday trading.
ETC called the ESPN. Bring me to the plus. He said this historic deal with Paramount and CBS is incredible for UFC fans and our athletes. For the first time ever, fans in the U.S., this is Dana White, will have access to all UFC content without a pay-per-view model, making it more affordable and accessible. It really is staggering.
DTC called ESPN Bring Me to the Plus. He added, "This historic deal with Paramount and CBS is incredible for UFC fans and our athletes. For the first time ever, fans in the US will have access to all UFC content without a pay-per-view model, making it more affordable and accessible. It really is staggering to me." Meanwhile, Volkanovski has agreed with Khabib's recent advice to Chimaev: mix in more striking instead of going all-in on wrestling. He explained that while wrestling works, it can drain a fighter quickly, and Chimaev has already faced questions about his cardio in longer fights. By emphasizing striking, Chimaev could conserve energy and avoid fading before the championship rounds. Volkanovski acknowledged that Chimaev's wrestling is elite and dangerous, but doesn't believe Du Plessis will be easy to break.
And he's so good at it, he's going to back him good at it, he's going to back himself. And that's why he will be dangerous early. Can he get the finish early? Maybe. He could get the finish. I think his best bet is getting that finish early, because he will get him down. He might even be able to get him in some chokes. Dricus might be strong enough to get him in positions that he's safe enough to survive and not let, Du
Plessis has shown he can take big shots, keep a high pace, and still find ways to win when the fight gets rough. Volkanovski said that makes him a unique challenge and forces Chimaev to be smart about his approach. In his view, this fight will be more about strategy than just raw power or skill. If Chimaev sticks to his usual wrestling-heavy plan, he risks gassing out and giving Du Plessis an opening late. If he blends his boxing with his grappling, he might control the pace.
Be able to take me down. Take me down. Absolutely, he'll be able to take me down. This is how a fight works. I would hope so. Isn't he like some Swedish champion or something, I would hope he could take me down. But then he has to deal with me on the ground. He has to keep me there. Can I take Khamzat down? Absolutely. Am I going to take Khamzat down? Absolutely. I'm not scared of Khamzat wrestling. I'm not.
When asked to pick a winner, Volkanovski sided with the underdog. Despite Chimaev being the betting favorite, he chose Du Plessis to defend his title, citing his resilience, adaptability, and ability to punish opponents who slow down as key advantages. I'm going with the underdog. This is going to be an incredible fight. I'm excited to see how it unfolds, he said. Volkanovski believes Du Plessis will weather the early storm, stay composed, and take control if the fight goes deep.
Adesanya, stop sending some friends a message to me. I don't want to be your friend. I want to kill you. I want to kill you.
Paulo Costa hasn't let go of his rivalry with Israel Adesanya during UFC 318 Media Week. He made it clear he wants a rematch, stating, "I want to fight him very badly. I want to hurt him. It doesn't matter if he won that fight or not. We need to fight." Years after their first meeting, the tension between them is still very much alive.
Khamzat has a gun, and I have a tank when it comes to strength. Last time I checked, Khamzat ragdolled, dismantled, and broke the jaw of the same man who took you down and controlled you in the very first round of your fight. But yeah, bro, you're the tank. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Adesanya isn't completely against the idea of a rematch, but he set one condition. Costa must first beat Roman Dolidze. Speaking on his Freestyle Bender channel, Adesanya told him directly, "Costa, if you win this fight, you can fight me again." He also offered advice, urging Costa to stay disciplined, maintain focus, and not let the crowd or the urge to entertain derail his game plan. Costa's push for the rematch isn't just about competition, it's also tied to how their first fight ended and Adesanya's post-fight behavior, which he's never forgotten. After UFC 253, Costa called Adesanya human trash and demanded an immediate rematch. While his public tone is calmer now, his goal remains the same.
I come here to talk about the action that human trash did. The human trash did after a fight. I didn't see when I was there on the cage, but I saw now. I disapprove 100%. And to me, this is mortal now. Nobody will stop me. Nobody can stop me.
If the fight happens, it would be one of the UFC's easiest sells. Both fighters have huge fan bases, very different fighting styles, and enough history to make the build-up intense. Costa brings aggressive, heavy-handed pressure, while Adesanya is known for his sharp, calculated striking. That combination, along with the personal edge, makes it a matchup fans would be eager to see. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan has repeatedly called Khamzat Chimaev one of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC, describing him as a scary-ass MF, and the man at middleweight, a praise that perfectly fits his heated back-and-forth with Dricus Du Plessis. Rogan has characterized Chimaev's skill set as suffocating in his style, as one that breaks opponents both physically and mentally.
Now it's my time. Yeah, don't run too much. Let's wait, man.
If Rogan's assessment holds true, Du Plessis could be in trouble. He has often highlighted how Chimaev doesn't just win, he dominates, pointing to fights where opponents were overwhelmed from the opening exchange. Rogan has explained that Chimaev's wrestling pressure, combined with his raw power and opportunistic submissions, leaves very little room for a fighter to establish their rhythm. Against a relentless fighter like Chimaev, Rogan's analysis suggests that Du Plessis would spend more time surviving than executing his own game plan.
As exhausted as anybody can be in the third round. This is a 5 round. Bring your first round. I am going to meet you in the middle, and we are going to wrestle. We can wrestle that first round, the whole first round. And then we come out in that second round, we'll see what we feel like. And we can wrestle for you have around a minute left in that second round, and then we're going to fight my fight. Then we're going to wrestle on my terms, and then we're going to strike on my
Rogan has also emphasized how Chimaev's presence affects opponents even before the fight begins. He believes some fighters are mentally compromised just by anticipating the storm they're about to face. Applied to the current feud, Rogan would likely see Du Plessis' verbal jabs as necessary bravado to project confidence, but unlikely to offset Chimaev's pressure game, which is designed to wear him down. Even when noting Chimaev's occasional setbacks, Rogan frames them as the result of external factors like weight cuts or scheduling, rather than flaws in his skill. That means, in Rogan's view, if Chimaev shows up healthy and focused, any opponent, no matter how tough, faces a relentless, punishing pace.
Expect me to get my hand raised, and that's about it.
And that'll be 8 wins in a row, and then you can sit back and watch the title fight play out between DDP and Khamzat Chimaev. Who do you think wins that fight, by the way?
I think DDP is going to surprise the world, man. He's a big motherfucker. He's fucking awkward. He comes forward. He doesn't get tired. Khamzat gets tired with small guys that were 155ers, you know what I mean? That went up to
For Du
win.
Plessis, Rogan's long-standing view would be simple. The South African has heart, but against Chimaev, heart alone might not be enough. Charles Oliveira didn't hold back ahead of his return at UFC Fight Night 261 in Brazil. Speaking with Fight, he revealed that while many names were offered to him, almost no one was willing to actually step in except Rafael Fiziev. He called out fighters who, in his words, talk trash from afar but go silent when challenged to fight, singling out Dan Hooker in particular.
I couldn't believe it. Dan said of Charles Oliveira, someone wake up Charlie Olive and tell him we fighting in November. Now, do I think that Dan Hooker and Charles Oliveira would be a great fight? Yes. Do I think that Dan Hooker would win this fight? No, probably not. The next fight for Charles Oliveira should 100.
Oliveira said he's confronted a fighter who talks a lot of nonsense online, but when called out, doesn't show up. He made it clear that he's tired of endless back-and-forth trash talk without anyone actually signing a contract. Oliveira wants fighters to put their names on the dotted line instead of just making noise on the internet.
I just think the lightweight division is going really weak in recent years. Considering a few years ago it was by far the best division in my opinion.
It's because most of these guys are aging. You got Charles is aging, Dustin, Gaethje, Hooker, Chandler, Poirier too. Yeah, they're all aging.
Yeah, everyone's just got old.
And the new blood ain't like exactly making big statements.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the division and you don't see anyone that you think, well, I think he's going to be a megastar. I think he's going to be...
Hooker, for his part, fired back. Just a few days ago, he went on X and posted, "Someone wake up Charles Oliveira and tell him we're fighting in November." He even added that if Oliveira wasn't available, he'd be ready to face Arman Petrosian instead. It's not the first time Hooker and Oliveira have traded shots, but this exchange feels closer to real action. Hooker clearly wants the fight before the year ends, and Oliveira seems equally willing if the offer is serious.
Versus Charles Oliveira. You know that fight's gonna be crazy. Like, cause Charles is dangerous everywhere. Charles can got knockout power, he got submission power, and he can wrestle now and like just stay on top and like, and you know, and Dan's a dog. Dan would eat whatever and keep going forward and keep just landing strikes. And
I mean, like Dan knows what to do. Like Dan's already fought what the Matheus Gamrot.
Whether the UFC actually makes this fight happen is still uncertain, but the tension is real. Oliveira wants opponents who will show up, and Hooker is publicly saying he's ready. If both keep pushing, November could become the stage for their long-brewing showdown. Ahead of UFC 319, Khamzat Chimaev called Jon Jones the scariest MMA fighter, praising the former champion's dominance over more than a decade. He highlighted Jones's victories over fighters like Daniel Cormier and Alexander Gustafsson as proof of his unmatched skill and fight IQ.
Top MMA fighters of all time.
Jon Jones.
Okay.
Jon Jones is actually mine.
Nobody is like him. Nobody. He beats a lot of guys, you know, like beats the monsters. I would did work for my training. We did with Alex. I know how good he is. And if Jon Jones could stop that guy, it's scary.
Coming from a fighter as aggressive and fearless as Chimaev, the compliment stood out. Jones responded with gratitude in an interview with Red Corner MMA, saying, "That's a huge compliment coming from Khamzat. I'm a big fan of Khamzat at heavyweights. Fear him, and the fact that he has so much respect for me really means a lot. It says a lot about his character and his humility. I'm very grateful and honored." His tone made it clear that he saw it as genuine respect, not just pre-hype.
The scariest guy, that's a huge compliment coming from Khamzat. I'm a big fan of Khamzat. I don't think he has any reason to toot my horn or to even be humble. He doesn't have to. I mean, people fear him. And the fact that he has so much respect for me really means a lot. It shows me a lot about his character and his humility to be able to compliment someone in such a huge way.
Jones said he'll be watching UFC 319 closely, showing that he's still plugged into major matchups, even while recovering from injuries. He praised Chimaev's skills and made it clear the admiration is mutual. The timing adds significance. Chimaev is just days away from fighting Dricus Du Plessis for the middleweight title, one of the biggest moments of his career, while Jones is navigating setbacks that have delayed his next defense. Despite this, his presence and influence in the MMA conversation remain strong. Don't miss this epic clash. Chimaev versus Du Plessis promises fireworks who will dominate the middleweight division.